Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Biriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi Grananti Te Bhurida Janaha Bhuvi Grananti Ye Bhurida Janaha. Sri Ramakrishna sang a song and is explaining. By turning the mind within oneself, one acquires discrimination. By turning the mind within oneself, one acquires discrimination. Because we have been constantly seeing the world outside since our birth. The torch is never turned to ourselves. What am I? Where am I? Why am I here? What am I to do? Nothing we have seen. We have seen the external world, senses and mind running after them because of the old tendencies. When the mind turns inward to itself, when a mirror is held in front and man looks into it, he is looking at himself. By turning the mind within oneself, one acquires discrimination between the real and unreal. And through discrimination, one thinks of truth. All this is passing. Nothing remains. When we were two small children at home, my father used to repeatedly say, oh, any problem comes, oh, neither you, with friend or with brothers or sisters, your small children has taken my pencil or something. And we will go with the complaint to father, oh, don't worry. All these are passing events. You will not understand now, but a day comes when neither you will be here in this world, nor he will be there in this world. When we used to hear that all things passing show is one thing. Passing show, when they tell it's all passing, doesn't matter, another incident is going to come. When they say neither you will be there in this world, nor others will be there. None of you are fighting today. Both of you won't be there. When the both of you won't be there comes into picture, our mind thinks a little. What is going to happen? Where am I going to go? Then we see others passing away, the body being taken to graveyard or cremation ground, and there ends the story. We see the body burning or being put in the grave and covered with mud. Why did I do anything, good or bad or right or wrong? Good also doesn't have any meaning, bad also doesn't have. Only purpose was to transcend the nature and go by realizing God. What is all this I am doing? This question appears. Otherwise, we think today is gone, doesn't matter, tomorrow will come again. But tomorrow, a day comes, no more tomorrow comes. So this is, then one thinks of truth. What is truth? What is eternal? Where is eternal? Where is the unending joy? Where is the total freedom from birth and death, from coming together and parting, from pain and pleasure? When is the leisure? Then the mind feels the desire to go for a walk to Kali, Divine Mother, the wish-fulfilling tree. I wish so many things, but nothing I get. But here is a place where you get everything. Reaching that tree, that is to say, going nearer to God, you can, without any effort, gather the four fruits, namely Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Yes, after realizing God, one can also get, if one desires so, Dharma, Artha and Kama, which are necessary for leading the worldly life. All that you seek, all that you need, all the desires will be fulfilled. Like a beggar in the street, he is going, looking at others eating, he goes and stands there. They don't give. Another place he goes, he stands there. They too don't give. Somebody gives a small piece, he is satisfied with him, but the inner desire stands. Now somebody comes and sees this beggar. He says, what do you want? He says, I want a morsel of food. He says, there you go. There, whatever, any amount you want, anything, you can take and go. There is gold, there is diamond, there is money, there is wealth. Whatever you want to, you can take and go. He goes and sees the whole room is filled with varieties of wealth. He takes a little, as much as he can take, 15-20 kilos of gold, and goes. Now, what dearth can he find in his life? If he has any amount that is, then while going he says, anytime you want anything, you can come and take and go. This is yours. And that kind of fulfillment, by attaining which you will no more seek anything in this world. All that you can seek is included there, and you get that. So, all the neighbor, then why should one call the world Maya, Master? As long as one has not realized God, one should renounce the world, following the process of neti. But he who has attained God knows that it is God alone who has become all this. The question is, then why should he? Wish-fulfilling tree, Divine Mother, if you go there, you'll get everything. Then why should we call this world a Maya? Thakur says, but you have not realized, you have not reached the tree, wish-fulfilling tree. Therefore you have to, we call it Maya, so that you will retire from all those things and reach the tree. But who has attained God knows that it is God alone that who has become all this. Then he sees that God, Maya, living beings, and the universe form one whole. They, all things together. One was appearing as many. Many is also that one is also many. And all that one who, you are in seeing the many because you are in the relative world. The one who is making it one appear as many, that manyness, you and the power which they made to appear, and now that is wisdom, that is going to give you again oneness, one existing as many. All this form one reality, one whole. God includes the universe and all its living beings. Now when we see a pot, earthen pot, clay pot, we see there is only mud, only clay. Now, is it all that it is there? Then what is the difference between clay and a pot? If clay and pot are same, the content is same, but there is the effort of the potter making the pot in that. His efforts are not seen, pot alone is seen. He is there in Gupta Rupa. His efforts are there, which has made the clay converted the clay into a pot. His efforts are there. It is making clay appear. When you say clay, you will see that all these are included. The potter also is included. And pot is also included. Clay also is included. All the instruments used are also included in this pot. God includes universe and all its living beings. Suppose you have separated the shell, flesh and seeds of a bale fruit, and someone asks you the weight of the fruit. Will you leave aside shell and the seeds and weigh only flesh? Not at all. To know the real weight of the fruit, you must weigh the whole of it, the shell, flesh and the seeds. Only then you can tell its real weight. The shell may be likened to the universe and the seeds to the living beings. While one is engaged in discrimination, one says to oneself, the universe and all living beings are non-self and unsubstantial. At that time, one thinks of the flesh alone as a substance, and the shell and seeds unsubstantial. But after discrimination is over, one feels that the three parts of the fruits together form a unity. Then one further realizes that the stuff that has produced the flesh of the fruit has also produced the shell and seeds. To know the real nature of bale fruit, one must know all the three. A fruit is there and I want to know its weight. I have to take the flesh is the only thing now mango is there. I am not going to eat its seed or the skin, the peelings. I am going to eat only flesh. It matters me only flesh. But the fruit includes the seed, and anybody asking the weight of the fruit, I don't tell the flesh alone. Like that, if you want to take the totality, what is this universe, you have to include all the living beings and God also. It is the process of evolution and involution. The world, after its dissolution, remains involved in God, and God, at the time of creation, evolves the world. Butter goes with buttermilk. Buttermilk goes with butter. Butter goes with buttermilk, and buttermilk goes with butter. If there is a thing called buttermilk, then butter also exists. And if there is a thing called butter, then buttermilk also exists. If the self exists, then non-self must also exist. matter and spirit, two entities. Then only duality comes into picture. I and you, subject object comes into picture, and knowledge, cognition, all these follow. The phenomenal world, what Sri Ramakrishna wants to insist is whatever you see, whatever you can understand, whatever you can think, whatever you can imagine, are all God alone. God is appearing as many. Don't looking at the world, don't forget the essence, the God. God has become all this. Each item, let it remind you of existence of God. What is the proof of God? This world is there, you see. That is the proof. If God were not to be there, this world would not have been there. The inferential truth that God exists is you are there, I am there, all dualities are there, and each day you separate, leave everything and enter into deep sleep where none of these are there. But again you come back and see this. So the whole world is God alone, but let it remind you of this. Sri Ramakrishna is telling all this what you can understand is God alone. You are seeing the world, but don't miss that God. That is the eternal. This is passing. You have to leave all this and go. But where do you go? Where are you now? Now also you are in God. There, wherever you go, is also God. So one God is pervading. One has been appearing as many here. The phenomenal world belongs to that very reality to which the absolute belongs, the whole universe. Again, absolute belongs to that very reality to which the phenomenal world belongs. Both are of the same. He who is realized as God has also become the universe and all living beings. God alone has become all this. One who knows the truth knows that it is He alone who has become father and mother, child and neighbor, man and animal, good and bad, holy and unholy, and so forth. All the dualities, whatever you see, is nothing but God. Neighbor, then is there no virtue and no sin? Merit and demerit. Is there sin and virtue? Master, they both exist and do not exist. Sadasadbhyam anirvachaniyam. We cannot say they exist or not. If you want to say one exists, other also exists. Both exist and both do not exist. If God keeps the ego in man, then He keeps in him the sense of discrimination and also the sense of virtue and sin. As long as we have not realized God, these two awarenesses God keeps. One, discrimination, to understand there is good and bad, right and wrong, and also its fruits, karya, karana, both the cause and effect. The discrimination is a power which saves man from the making sin. The tendency to make the sin or virtue, good or bad, is within man's discretion. He has the power to discriminate between the right and wrong also. But in a rare few, he completely effaces the ego, and these go beyond the virtue and sin, good and bad. In whom he keeps in him. If God keeps the ego in a man, if he keeps ego, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, and I am knower. Kartritva, bhoktritva, jnatritva. If he keeps this ego, then he keeps in him sense of discrimination. Right and wrong also he keeps. If he keeps ego, he keeps the right and wrong understanding also. And also the sense of virtue and sin. I am doing virtue or sin is also being shown. But in a rare few, he effaces the ego. If he keeps ego, he keeps discrimination, a sense of right and wrong. But in rare few, he erases the ego. And these go beyond the virtue and sin, good and bad. If ego is not there, there is no good and bad also. He is beyond. As long as man has not realized God, he retains the sense of discrimination and knowledge of good and bad. You may say, virtue and sin are the same to me. I am doing only as God bids me. But you know in your heart of hearts that those are mere words. No sooner do you commit an evil deed than you will feel palpitation in your heart. It looks virtue and sin are same because we constantly hear of an existence beyond the duality, and that awareness makes me often feel, what does it matter? Everything is unreal. It's passing, whether I do good or bad. Nothing lasts, you feel. But the moment we do anything wrong, it starts pestering within. It creates a guilt and suffering goes on. I have done. That sin will. Evil, then you feel palpitation in your heart. Even after God has been realized, he keeps in the mind of the devotee, if he desires so, feeling of servant ego. In that state, the devotee says, O God, thou art the master, I am the servant. Such a devotee enjoys only spiritual talk and spiritual deeds. He does not enjoy the company of ungodly people. He does not care for any work that is not of a holy nature. You see, I will go a few lines before. No sooner you do commit an evil deed than you feel the palpitation in your heart. I have done a mistake, that guilt. Even after God has been realized, he keeps in the mind of the devotee, if he so desires, the feeling of that I am servant. The servant ego he keeps. In that state, the devotee says, O God, thou art the master, I am thy servant. Such a devotee enjoys only spiritual talk and spiritual deeds. He does not enjoy the company of ungodly people. He does not care for any work that is not of a holy nature. See, these people, he says, even after realizing God, now these people, they cannot enjoy that the worldly things, worldly talk, worldly, but they don't have hatred or dislike. They don't enjoy it. So they hear and just walk off somewhere. Not in a hurting way, turning away, but just so smoothly they release themselves, offer the whole incident to the divine and keep. And they start speaking, enjoying the company of godly people. So you see that God keeps a sense of discrimination even in such a devotee. Neighbor, you ask us, sir, to live in the world after knowing God. Can God be really known? is asking Sri Ramakrishna that you have been asking us to live in the God of realizing. Can the God be realized at all? Master, God cannot be known by sense organs or by mind. God is not an object of mind or senses, but He can be known by pure mind, the mind that is free from worldly desires. If the mind is free from worldly desires, it acquires a power to penetrate into every object and every being and see the divine within. Just like an ordinary photo camera takes only the external skin photo. It cannot penetrate into and take photo. But X-ray photograph, when you take, it doesn't take the external. It penetrates into the bodily existence, enters deep within, and captures the picture of a photo of the inner content. Like that is the Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.